Ganesha, his birth story. Symbolism, meaning, and practice. The birth of Ganesha. One day goddess Parvati was at home on Mount Kailash preparing for a bath, as she didn't want to be disturbed. She told Nandi, her husband Shiva's bull, to guard the door and let no one pass. Nandi faithfully took his post, intending to carry out Parvati's wishes. But when Shiva came home and naturally wanted to come inside, Nandi had to let him pass, being loyal first to Shiva. Parvati was angry at this slight, but even more than this, at the fact that she had no one as loyal to herself as Nandi was to Shiva. So, taking the turmeric paste for bathing from her body and breathing life into it, she created Ganesha, declaring him to be her own loyal son. The next time Parvati wished to bathe, she posted Ganesha on guard duty at the door. In due course, Shiva came home, only to find this strange boy telling him he couldn't enter his own house. Furious, Shiva ordered his army to destroy the boy. But they all failed, such power did Ganesha possess. Being the son of Devi herself, this surprised Shiva, seeing that this was no ordinary boy. The usually peaceful Shiva decided he would have to fight him, and in his divine fury severed Ganesha's head, killing him instantly. When Parvati learned of this, she was so enraged and insulted that she decided to destroy the entire creation. Lord Brahma, being the creator, naturally had his issues with this, and pleaded that she reconsider her drastic plan. She said she would, but only if two conditions were met. 1. That Ganesha be brought back to life, and 2. That he be forever worshipped before all the other gods. Shiva, having cooled down by this time, and realizing his mistake, agreed to Parvati's conditions. He sent Brahma out with orders to bring back the head of the first creature he crosses that is laying with its head facing north. Brahma soon returned with the head of a strong and powerful elephant, which Shiva placed onto Ganesha's body. Breathing new life into him, he declared Ganesha to be his own son as well and gave him the status of being foremost among the gods, and leader of all the Ganas, classes of beings. Ganapati, meaning of the story of Ganesha at first glance. This story just seems like a nice tale that we might tell our children or a myth without any real substance. But its true mystical meaning is veiled. It is explained thus. Parvati is a form of Devi, the Parashakti's supreme energy. In the human body, she resides in the Muladhara chakra as the Kundalini Shakti. It is said that when we purify ourselves, ridding ourselves of the impurities that bind us, then the Lord automatically comes. This is why Shiva, the Supreme Lord, came unannounced as Parvati was bathing. Nandi, Shiva's bull, who Parvati first sent to guard the door, represents the divine temperament. Nandi is so devoted to Shiva that his every thought is directed to him, and he is able to easily recognize the Lord when he arrives. This shows that the attitude of the spiritual aspirant is what gains access to Devi's, the Kundalini Shakti's abode. One must first develop this attitude of the devotee before hoping to become qualified for the highest treasure of spiritual attainment, which Devi alone grants. After Nandi permitted Shiva to enter, Parvati took the turmeric paste from her own body, and with it created Ganesha. Yellow is the color associated with the Muladhara chakra, where the Kundalini resides, and Ganesha is the deity who guards this chakra. Devi needed to create Ganesha, who represents the earthbound awareness, as a shield to protect the divine secret from unripe minds. It is when this awareness begins to turn away from things of the world and toward the divine, as Nandi had, that the great secret is revealed. Shiva is the Lord and supreme teacher. Surrounded as it is with the murky cloud of ego, usually doesn't recognize him, and maybe even ends up arguing or fighting with him. Therefore, it is the duty of the Lord, in the form of the Guru, to cut off the head of our ego. So powerful is this ego, however, that at first the Guru's instructions may not work. As Shiva's armies failed to subdue Ganesha, it often requires a tougher approach, but eventually the compassionate Guru, in his wisdom, finds a way. Devi threatened to destroy the whole creation after learning of Ganesha's demise. This indicates that when the ego thus dies, the liberated jiva loses interest in its temporary physical vehicle, the body, and begins to merge into the supreme. The physical world is here represented by Devi. This impermanent and changeable creation is a form of Devi, to which this body belongs. The unchanging absolute is Shiva, to which belongs the soul. When the ego dies, the external world, which depends on the ego for its existence, disappears along with it. It is said that if we want to know the secrets of this world, which is a manifestation of Devi, then we must first receive the blessings of Ganesha. Shiva restoring life to Ganesha and replacing his head with an elephant's means that before we can leave the body, the Lord first replaces our small ego with a big or universal ego. This doesn't mean that we become more egoistic. On the contrary, we no longer identify with the limited individual self, but rather with the large universal self. In this way, our life is renewed, becoming one that can truly benefit creation. It is, however, only a functional ego like the one Krishna and Buddha kept. It is like a thin string tying the liberated consciousness to our world, solely for our benefit. Ganesha is given dominion over the ganas, which is a general term denoting all classes of beings, ranging from insects, animals, and humans to the subtle and celestial beings. These various beings all contribute to the government of the creation. Everything from natural forces like storms and earthquakes to the elemental qualities like fire and water, to the functioning of the body's organs and processes. If we don't honor the ganas, then our every action is a form of thievery, as it is unsanctioned. Therefore, instead of propitiating each gana in order to receive their blessings, we bow to their Lord Sri Ganesha. By receiving his grace, we receive the grace of all. He removes any potential obstacles and enables our endeavors to succeed. Such is the greatness of Sri Ganesha, Jai Ganesha.